If you are watching this video for the first time, make sure you are subscribing to Anantalakshmi Academy. Once you click on the subscribe button, you will see a bell icon. If you click on that bell and click on all, you will get to know whenever I upload a video. This will send you a notification. Hello everybody, welcome back to Anantalakshmi Academy. Today we are going to cover the left out problems of exercise 5.3. Earlier, even before to this video, we have covered till problem number 9 in exercise 5.3. If you are directly watching this video without watching the other videos, please go through the introductions and concepts that were mentioned in the earlier videos of quadratic equations, because concept is very much important. I assume that when discussing the problems, you have already known that concept and will be explaining. So to have a better understanding, please go through the earlier videos of this before watching this. Alright, so we have the problem number 10 already written on the board. Let me jump into the solution without any delay. Alright, solution. In order to write the solution, let us read out the problem first. Here, an express train takes 1 hour less than a passenger train. How many trains? 2 trains are there. One is express train and the other is a passenger train. Express train takes 1 hour less than the passenger train. Okay, time is given. Time for the express train compared to the passenger train. Distance is also given. To travel 132 kilometers between so and so stations. Forget about the stations, we are not bothered. If the average speed of the train is 11 kilometers per hour, more than that of the passenger train, find the average speed of 2 trains. Okay, here if you look at this, an express train takes 1 hour less than the passenger train to travel 132 kilometers. The time taken by express train is dependent upon time taken by the passenger train, isn't it? So what needs to be considered as the value of x? Nothing but the speed of the passenger train. So let the speed of the which train? Passenger train. Passenger train is equal to x. Alright, next. Then given, what is given? Distance is equal to how many kilometers between the two stations? 132 kilometers. Now, you have the distance and the speed of the passenger train. Can we derive the time taken by the passenger train? Yes. Time taken by passenger train is equal to how much? Distance by speed, which is nothing but 132 kilometers divided by x, which is nothing but time taken by the passenger train. Now, what is given? If the average speed of the express train is 11 kilometers than that of passenger train, so speed of the express train is equal to 11 kilometers per hour more than the passenger train. That is what is given. 11 kilometers more than passenger train. So we assumed the passenger train speed to be x. Since this is 11 kilometers more, that's going to be x plus 11. The speed of the express train is given. Now, what is the time taken by the express train? 1 hour less than that of passenger train. So, time taken by express train is equal to 1 hour less than time taken by passenger train, isn't it? Time taken by passenger train. So that is nothing but 1 hour less than time taken by passenger train is nothing but 132 by x minus 1. That is what the time taken. But time taken by express train, according to distance by speed formula, the distance is same even for this train. But the speed is 11 kilometers per hour more, isn't it? This is what the time taken by express train. But it is given that 1 hour less than time taken by passenger train. Now, equating these two will get a quadratic equation, isn't it? So, let us solve for the same. Now, take the LCM on this side. 132 by x plus 11 is equal to 132 minus x by x. Now do the cross multiplication and let us simplify this equation. So that is going to be 132x is equal to 132 minus x into x plus 11. Alright, so let's multiply these two. 132x is equal to 132x plus 132 into 11 is 132 and 132, 2, 5, 4, 1452 this is 1452 minus x square minus 11x. 132x and 132x gets cancelled. So as the x square term is negative, I am going to get the whole equation into this side. X square plus 11x minus 1452 is equal to 0. Now it's time for us to figure out the factors of 1452. The product of the coefficients and constant is 1452 and we need to get the sum as 11. So let us try figuring out those factors. 2 7s are, 2 2s are, 2 6s are, 2 3s are, 2 6s are, 2 3s are. 3 plus 3 is 6 plus 6, okay. 3 1s are, 3 2s are, 3 1s are, 11 11s are. So here 1452 should be split in such a way that the sum of the roots is 11 and this is minus 14. 2 2s are 4, 4 11s are 44 and 3 11s are 33. 44 minus 33 is 11. So let's get that one. 44x minus 33x is going to give us 11x. Alright. So x square plus 44x minus 33x minus 1452 is equal to 0. Now take out x common. X plus 44x, sorry, x plus 44 minus 33 if you take common, x plus, this is going to be nothing but 44. 33 44 is 1452. That is what we figured out here, no? X plus 44 into x minus 33 is equal to 0. So x plus 44 is equal to 0 or x minus 33 is equal to 0. X is equal to 33 and x is equal to minus 44. What are we dealing with? Speed of the trains. Speed cannot be negative. Speed cannot be negative. Therefore, speed of the passenger train. Speed of passenger train is equal to how much? Positive value is 33 kilometers per hour. Now, speed of the express train is nothing but x plus 11. So that is nothing but 33 plus 11 is nothing but 44 kilometers per hour. So that is about problem number 10. Okay, let's jump into the next problem. So here we have the 11th problem written on the board. What is given for us? Sum of the areas of two squares is 468 meters square. If the difference of their perimeters is 24 meters. We have two squares. Okay. Difference of the perimeters is 24 means one should definitely have a bigger perimeter and the other should definitely have a smaller perimeter because the difference is positive, isn't it? 24 meters. So find the sides of the square. So let side of a square be x. Side of one of the squares be x. Okay. Then what does the perimeter become? Therefore, perimeter is equal to 4x. Difference of the perimeters is given as 24. What is given? Difference of perimeters is equal to 24. When I said there must be a bigger square and a smaller square. So this is going to be 4x minus 24, or let me write it as, so difference of perimeters is nothing but perimeter of bigger square minus perimeter of smaller square is equal to 24. Now bigger square, for what we have assumed, this is going to be 4x minus perimeter of smaller square is nothing but, if I take 24 this side, this is going to give you perimeter of smaller square. What is this? Perimeter of smaller square. Now once you know the perimeter, can you get the side? Yes. Therefore perimeter of smaller square is nothing but 4 into x. What is nothing but 4x? So side, let me get the side. Therefore side of smaller square is equal to perimeter is nothing but 4 into s by 4. Can we do it? Yes. So this is going to be 4 into 4x minus 24 by 4. If you take 4 common, x minus 6 is going to be the side of a smaller square. You have the side of a smaller square as x minus 6, side of a bigger square as x. So what is given? Sum of the areas of the two squares is 468 meters square. Similarly given, sum of areas of squares is equal to 468 meters square, which is nothing but, what is the formula? Side square. Side square of bigger square is nothing but x square plus x minus 6 whole square is equal to 468. Is it not? X square plus x minus 6 whole square is 468 meters square. Alright, so this is going to be, let us simplify this equation. X square plus, expand a minus b whole square, x square plus 36 minus 12x is equal to 468. How many x squares you have got? 2x squares. 2x square minus 12x. 468, if you get this side, this becomes minus 468 plus 36. So that is going to be 8 minus 6 is 2, 6 minus 3 is 3, and this is minus. So this is going to be minus 432. Let me take 2 common, that way it becomes x square minus 6x minus 2 2s, 2 1s and 2 6s. Now it is time for us to figure out the factors. The product of the roots is 216. 216 factors. Let me do it with 2 1s, 0 8. 2 5s, 2 4s, 2 2s, 2 7s, 3 9s and 3 3s. Okay. So this is going to be 2 2s 4, 4 3s 12 and 6, okay, 6 2s 12 and 9 2s 18. Yeah. So minus 216 can be written as minus 18x plus 12x, such that it gives us a sum of minus 6x. This is how you need to figure out the factorization also. Alright, so x square minus 18x plus 12x minus 216 is equal to 0. So if you take x common, x minus 18 plus if you take 12 common, 12 18s are 216. X minus 18 multiplied with x plus 12 is going to be 0. So this is x minus 8 is equal to 0 or x plus 12 is equal to 0. X is equal to 18 and x is equal to minus 12. Since we are dealing with sides of the square which cannot be negative. Side of a square cannot be negative. Negative, I am writing it as minus v. Okay, so this is going to be, therefore, side of a square, side of a bigger square or larger square, side of one square is equal to, what is it? 18. Side of the smaller or the second square is equal to 18 minus x minus 6. No, that is x minus 6, which is 18 minus 6, nothing but 12 meters. And this is 18 meters. 18 and 12. Alright, that is about problem number 11. Let's jump into the next problem. So here we have the 12th problem written on the board. Let me go through it. An object is thrown upwards with an initial velocity of 17 meters per second. In the introduction video, I have told you that the uses of the quadratic equations are clearly given in the textbook, where in use cases. One of the use cases is this: the object thrown with an initial velocity from a building, it encloses a trajectory path and finally ends up in the quadratic equation. That was one of the use case, and this is a problem based on that use case. From a building with 12-meter height of the building is 12 meters. It is at a height of S is equal to whatever object is at a height of this from the ground after a flight of t seconds. Find the time taken to touch the ground. What do we need to figure out? Time taken. So let the time taken by the object to touch the ground or reach the ground be t seconds. What is given? It is at a height of s is equal to 12 plus 17t minus 5t square. Now the object should touch the ground from a building. Let us assume this is a building and this is a ground. From here it is thrown and it should touch the ground. When it should touch the ground, the distance or the height from the ground is going to be 0 when it is touching. So s is equal to, as the object touches the ground, as it touches the ground, as it is at a height, now that it is touching the ground, it should be the height becomes 0. The height is nothing but height of object. Okay, the height of object becomes 0 as it is touching the ground, which is nothing but s is equal to 0. But what is given for us? 12 plus 17t minus 5t square is equal to 0. Let me write the square term. Let me rearrange this equation with positive sign. 5t square minus 17t minus 12 is equal to 0. I took the minus common and rearranged this equation. Alright, now product of the coefficient of t square and the constant is going to be minus 60. We need some roots such that their sum is minus 17t. So can I write it as minus 20t plus 13t? Sorry, plus 3. 23 is a 60. Alright, so let's try doing that. 5t square minus 20t plus 3t minus 12 is equal to 0. If I take 5t common from the first two terms, this becomes t minus 4 plus 3. If I take common from the last two terms, this is going to be t minus 4. So t minus 4 into 5t plus 3 is equal to 0. So t minus 4 is equal to 0 or 5t plus 3 is equal to 0. T is equal to 4 seconds or t is equal to minus 3 by 5. Alright, now we have a positive term and a negative term. As time cannot be negative. Therefore, t is equal to 4 seconds. That is nothing but the time taken by the object to touch the ground. Find the time taken to touch the ground. The time taken to touch the ground is equal to 4 seconds. Alright, that is about problem number 12. Let's jump into the last problem of the exercise. So here we have the last problem of the exercise, which is nothing but problem number 13. Here let me read out the problem for you. If a polygon of n sides has how many diagonals? Half into n minus 3 diagonals. How many sides are there in a polygon with 65 diagonals? Is there a polygon with 50 diagonals? Okay, you have two questions here. Given a formula for you where n is the sides of a polygon. You need to figure out a polygon whose diagonals are 65 and you need to answer, is there a polygon with 50 diagonals? Alright, so let's get started. Given diagonals, number of diagonals in a polygon. How many? Number of diagonals in a polygon is equal to half into n minus 3, where n equal to sides of the polygon. Now what is given for us? How many sides are there in a polygon with 65 diagonals? There are number of diagonals is equal to how many? 65 diagonals. So what is the formula for this? Half into n minus 3 is equal to 65. Now if you do the cross multiplication, this is going to be n into n minus 3 is equal to 2 5s are 10, 2 6 are 12, and plus 1 is 13. So n square minus 3n is equal to 130. Let us get the 130 also the other side. This becomes n square minus 3n minus 130 is equal to 0. Now the product of the coefficient of n square and the constant is minus 130, and the sum needs to be end up as minus 3. So can I consider this as minus 13n plus 10n? Minus 13 plus 10 is minus 3. So let's go with that. N square minus 13n plus 10n minus 130 is equal to 0. That way it becomes n taken common n into n minus 3 plus 10 taken common n minus 13 is equal to 0. So this is going to be n minus 13 into n plus 10 is equal to 0. Now how do we do this? N minus 13 is equal to 0 or n plus 10 is equal to 0. N is equal to 13 or n is equal to minus 10. Now here we are dealing with the sides of a polygon. N is nothing but sides of a polygon. Can there be negative sides for a polygon? No, as there cannot be negative sides for polygon. Alright, n is equal to, therefore n is equal to 13, which is nothing but, how many sides are there in a polygon with 65 diagonals? A polygon with 65 diagonals will have how many sides? Will have 13 sides. Alright, this is what we figured out. Now let us come to the next question. Is there a polygon with 50 diagonals? Are you aware of a polygon with 50 diagonals? No, I am not. So, therefore, no, there is no polygon with 50 diagonals. 50 diagonals. Just because I don't know, it doesn't mean that it is there. Look at this. If there are 50 diagonals, we need to figure out this by equating this to 50, just like we did. Half into n minus 3 is equal to 50. Okay, that becomes n into n minus 3 is equal to 100. N square minus 3n minus 100 is equal to 0. Now we come to an equation which cannot be solved by what? Factorization. So using what? The quadratic formula, we need to figure this out. Even if you try figuring out this by the quadratic formula, this becomes minus into minus 3 plus or minus b square is minus 3 whole square minus 4 into a into c. Alright, by 2 into a, which is nothing but 3 plus or minus 3 square is 9. 4 into 1 into c is nothing but 100, no? 9 minus 400 by 2. 3 plus or minus 391 divided by 2. Under root of a negative term cannot be defined. This is what I told you while discussing the nature of the roots. B square minus 4ac is less than 0. The discriminant is less than 0. Therefore, as the b square minus 4ac is less than 0, the discriminant is less than 0, there are no real roots. Real roots, there are no real roots, or this has imaginary roots. Since this equation does not have any real roots, there cannot be any polygon with 50 diagonals. I just can't say no just because I don't know, because if you solve this, you get to have a value of under root of negative value, which is not possible, and hence the roots are not real. So for that purpose, we cannot have a polygon with 50 diagonals. So if you want to prove that, you could do this simplification first and then finally write no, there is no polygon with 50 diagonals. Alright, that is about the last problem of exercise 5.3. Successfully we have completed this exercise. Let us meet in the next video with the next exercise problems, which is exercise 5.4. Since I have already covered the concept of the nature of the roots, I would strongly recommend you guys to please go through the examples. Please go through the examples and get ready for the next video session of exercise 5.4 solutions. Alright, that is about this video. If you feel that the content is worth enough and you are able to understand the problem and my explanation is good, so please do like, share and subscribe to Anantalakshmi Academy. Also, please pass on this to your classmates or any of your relatives studying in 10th class. Thank you for watching.